WildX is a platform for speakers to not only share their voice, their message, but to inspire the world.
Everybody give it up for my man, Erick Kennedy.
So you'll hear in just a second that I wasn't born in California. You'll hear this accent come through real thick as I talk. I want to tell you what Recovery Vow is, what my Recovery Vow is. And here's how I'm going to do that. I'm also going to explain to you how every one of us in this room are in some kind of recovery. Now, what I'd like for you to do, I got a little exercise for you. I want you to take your phone out, okay? I want you to hold it up to me. You can take a picture if you want. Okay. This is worth documenting. Now, here's what I want you to do. Think in your head of someone that is currently in an addiction. Now, when I say addiction, you can say drugs, alcohol. You can say sexual addiction. You can say maybe they're hurt from a parent or they're in some kind of grief. Okay? Turn your light on if you can think of someone like that. Okay? Now, what I'd like for you to do now is turn your light on if you know someone that's in recovery. Now listen, addiction's the dark, heavy stuff we have to carry. We can't have a testimony without this test, and that's addiction. I want you to think about recovery, okay? Recovery can be many things, but there's so much beauty that comes with recovery. So if you know someone that's in recovery from drugs or alcohol, sexual addiction, healing from loss of a child from an addiction, maybe they're not in a good relationship with their parent, maybe they're in some kind of a grief. If you know someone in that type of recovery, turn your flashlight on. What this has done for me, it just creates a beautiful moment in the room so that I can look around and know who I'm talking to. It also just leveled the playing field that we are all the same no matter how we sound. We all know someone. Okay, you can take your phones and put them up. Okay, one other quick exercise I want you to do. As I talk, or as I begin this talk, I want you to close your eyes for just a second. And in that light that you had turned on, I'm looking, so you better have your eyes closed. The light that you had turned on, I want you to think of that person or that family member. As you hear me talk, as you look at this stage going forward, hear my voice, but see their face, okay? Because if we together are going to talk to them, okay? We're going to tell you how we are all in recovery and our vow to make that commitment, okay? All right, open your eyes. Everybody get all your pictures you needed? Okay? Yes. Okay, good. 15 years ago, I was, how old was I? I was 30 years old, okay? I lived in the deepest part of South Carolina. I lived in a mobile home. That mobile home was probably about the size of his table. And the reason I'm telling you this story, this is going to be the last 3 days of my addiction. The last week, but we're going to condense it to 3 days. Of the addiction that I had before I decided to take the steps in recovery. So picture, me and my wife had split up. I have 2 little baby boys, Cameron and Christian, they're 3 and 4. And I want you to hear their names because you're thinking of someone that's affected. I want you to hear the names of the people that I affected. Picture this small, tiny mobile home where I had a home, I had a job, I had everything, I lost it. Living in this small mobile home. Now, that last week, I had attempted suicide twice because I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was not present for them. And wait, let me just say this real quick. I'm not trying to tell you this heavy story so you feel sorry for me. We're going to get to the good stuff in just a second. Remember, I'm telling you the testimony. This was a test, and this was the addiction. The beauty's in the recovery. So when I'm in this mobile home, I have gotten rid of everything that I could have ever needed or imagined to take care of myself and them. And by the time The last day got there, there was a queen-size bed in this living room, there was a TV, and there was the bottom of a military cot that we used as a couch. And as if someone came over and crashed, that's where they would sleep at. Every other weekend, Cameron and Christian would come by. We would pile in that bed. I was useless. I was useless to them. On the last day of my addiction, I went to the drug man's house. And by the way, I was addicted to crack cocaine and anything else I can get my hands on. But my drug of choice was crack cocaine. I also loved Canadian Club. And if we had 17 more hours, I could tell you a lot of other stories that go along with those two drugs, but we don't have that kind of time. The reason I want to tell you this and give some emphasis to it is because when you close your eyes before, as you keep your eyes open now, I want you to be in the mobile home with me. I want you to be in the moment with me. So that last day, I went and borrowed $60 worth of crack cocaine. I didn't have the money. And I had a pint left. I remember going to the drug man's house and I said, please, let me get this. I'll pay you back tomorrow or I'll cut your grass. Some kind of negotiation. And he gave it to me. This was 6:30 in the morning. I've already watched an episode of The Golden Girls and I was a little tipsy. That was a good day already. And I had this pint of Canadian Club and now I had this $60 worth of crack cocaine. And I found myself going to a cemetery of all places. It was the closest place I could get to use. And I did that. I smoked the crack by myself. I drank the whiskey by myself. And I expected to be high. I expected to feel something. But I didn't. I felt exactly like I do right now. I knew that I needed to make a change. So I'm going to breeze through the rest of the time when I went to jail and all that because I can't tell you every one of those stories. But I'm going to tell you when I got back home, I laid on that queen-size bed in my living room, bedroom, kitchen, all in one. And that was the first time I ever called for, it was the second time I called for help. I decided to pick up the phone and I said, hey, this is my life story. Told them I need help. We'll get you down to Florida to a treatment center in the next 24 hours. Pack your bags, you're ready to go. Well, in that moment, I'm sitting on that queen-size bed. I'm hoping for this white light. God, just heal me. These white doves are going to fly out from under this bed. And the world is about to change. And that didn't happen. There's this little 5.5-foot lady that came through the front door. That's my mama. That's Debbie. She came over. She brought 2 police officers and she brought the mayor of the town with her. And I said, hey, I've already called for help. And they said, it's too late. You've panhandled enough that we're going to put you in jail. Okay. I go to jail. I go to treatment for 35 days. I get out. I spend a few months in a halfway house. But I hit the biggest life reset button you've ever hit before in your life. And I made a commitment that I was not going back to that. Now, there's a few points that I want to make as I talk about recovery. The people that you were just thinking about when you had your phones on, and when you look at this stage, and when I talk to you in this room, I want you to hear something. If we were all judged on our worst day, we would never have the opportunity to show our best. So I'm about to show you my best, okay? Over the last 15 years, I've walked through what recovery can give you. It's like, I'm from the South, so I can say this because you guys don't listen to country. You've heard country music before. It's like a country song. I got my house back. I got my dog back. I got my wife back. Got my kids back. All of that. Now, I did divorce Cameron and Christian's mother because she was my drug buddy and I just didn't want to do that anymore. But fast forward through these last 15 years, I've met a new woman. We have a beautiful little girl together. And I've just lived in the world of recovery. I've just lived and enjoyed what recovery is like. Now, 2 years ago, I decided to write a book. I'm like, I'm going to write a book because some people need to hear this. People need to hear what I went through. And I went to a publisher and I said, hey, I'm going to write this autobiography. You need to print it because the world needs to read it. And they said, yeah, that's great. These are a lot of great stories. But you're not John F. Kennedy. You're not Ronald Reagan. Who's going to read it? You need to think of something that will serve people. And so that's where the word legacy came in for me. It's like, okay. So I spent a month just kind of rethinking that thought, and then I got into the work. I remember when I got out of treatment, there was nothing out there for the supportive spouse of someone in recovery, female or male. You have to just hopefully enjoy the life that I'm going to give you now after I've burnt all these bridges. They just got fixed like that. Okay? That's not the case. It's not the case at all. What happens in recovery is that we have to make a vow to ourselves. Are you hearing that? V-O-W, not vow like you buy a letter on. I know my accent's different. Not the letter you buy on Price is Right. V-O-W. So this is becoming my recovery vow. So when I pitched the idea for Marriage After Addiction and I told them I want this workbook to help couples, they said, yeah, we'll do that. Later on, I've never written a book. I have no idea what I'm doing. I could care less about sales or stuff like that. I have a full-time job. But then they said, you should consider doing a podcast. Everybody does podcasts now. And I'm like, I could do that. You've got the perfect face for radio, man. Do a podcast. Okay. So I branded this nonprofit called Recovery Vow. And under that, we had this book, we had this podcast. We're rolling out all these new things. But here's my 3 points I want to share with you before I have to close. What is your recovery? My recovery is what you just heard, but when you think about the people you lit your phone up for, or maybe you were scared enough you didn't turn your phone on, what kind of recovery are you in? Everybody's in recovery. Everybody's dealt with something in the past they're in recovery from. Doesn't have to be drugs and alcohol. Doesn't have to be sexual addiction. What's your vow? Are you going to make a commitment to yourself and to someone else? Now think about it. Before you hear about the word vow and you think about marriage, a vow is the commitment you can make to yourself. You know, when you stand here, I do. Do you? I do. Yeah, that's a vow, but you're making that vow to another person. What's the vow that you can make to yourself? And finally, what kind of legacy? So when I decided to write that book, I'm like, Lord, what kind of legacy can I leave for this world? I freely got, well, it cost $30,000 to go to rehab, but after that, I freely got this just by doing the work. One day when I'm not going to be here, I want to still be able to help people. So where does my legacy play a part? That's why I do the work that I do now. We have the opportunity to be generational breakers, not generational blamers. And it's so important for us to hear that and understand that. Again, I want to say that this is not meant to be a heavy topic. This is meant to be a life-giving topic. You have the opportunity to help someone you may never meet walk in their recovery, help them find their vow, and help them build their legacy. My name is Erick Kennedy, and I really appreciate you letting me share my story.